Hello and welcome to Phoenix World Championship Round 2. We're coming to you live from Zolder, Week 2 in our adventures of questionable quality and worthlessness. Today, once again, with me is Matthew Ruda.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Definitely of questionable quality, definitely worthless, and definitely overworked, but that's another story for another day. Yeah, good to be here in Zolder. Nice track. Took a spin around it in our transit van earlier, uh, pissing off the entire grid in the process. So at least we got that covered for this broadcast. Now, well, we can continue pissing off everybody, including all of our listeners. So welcome. Hi. Prepare to be triggered.
Jesus Christ. Well,
Starting off well, eh?
yes, in tune with our professionalism.
Obviously, always.
Yes, so, coming to you live from Zolder Park. If I can just make sure the graphic pops up on screen. There we go. Quality performance. This is week 2 of 9 in our inaugural Phoenix World Championship calendar. This is a very different track to what we had in Hockenheim, definitely, as you can see the statistics here. The races once again are going to be 30 minutes plus 1 lap each, just over 4 kilometers long this circuit. The brand new, fresh off the stove track record is set by Philip Eng, 123.6. We're going to see if our guys are going to be faster. Once again, the air temperature is just over 20 degrees centigrade. This is a narrow track with a couple of very, let's just say, murderous chicanes, for the lack of a better word.
Yeah, I went for a spin off air in, I think it was the BMW, just to kind of see what I was missing by being stuck up here in this booth instead of on the track. And these cars are a lot of fun to drive. Two, these chicanes are going to be murderous and present some of the better overtaking opportunity. What the hell was I trying to say there? Overtaking opportunities. There we go. I'd spit it out eventually. No comment from you, Georgian, please.
I'm gonna comment all I want.
But yeah, the two best overtaking opportunities I think are the first two chicanes. Got to throw one up there and then keep your place for the next one. And then maybe a hairpin can do well. Not really familiar with that track. I guess I'll get more familiar with it as the session goes on. But we are in qualifying. Nobody has set a time yet, according to my app, unless that is wrong. But a lot of people are out on outlaps. We see McLaren Tim now, looking like he's getting ready to cross the line. And for our first time, a 124.2. One of the standouts from the first race. If any of you saw that, and if you did watch it live, we apologize for the really, really shitty quality.
And we cannot promise it will not happen again.
No, well, one, we can't promise that, and two, we can do nothing for our quality as commentators. That's always going to be shit. But hopefully the server quality is substantially better this time, because, yeah, that was bad.
Yeah,
but McLaren Tim, if you did manage to, understand anything that was being said last race, one of the standouts definitely gave Sharky a run for his money, and definitely to watch in the race to come. Already 1.4 seconds ahead. Else, the rest of the field still has to set all their laps.
Yeah, for sure. We have, let me see, just over 6 minutes to go. It's a short qualifying, so you gotta perform really well, real fast to have some decent lap times in. And here, more than other tracks, the actual qualifying position is somewhat important because, as we said, it's a little bit more difficult to overtake here than in Hockenheim. No huge straight to help you with DRS. The straights are kind of questionable length, let's just say.
Yeah, I know a lot about questionable length. That's all we're gonna go that one. It is good to hear that you are already roboting. So, is going to be a shit show. Yikes. I fucking love connections and Discord connections. They're fantastic. They're the best. They're great. They're huge. They suck.
Huge.
Huge. Alright, let's not get political already. We're only 2 minutes into this damn thing. Actually 5 minutes, but who's counting? I certainly don't know how to. As we see JK, one of the other usual top contenders in this field, already a second behind McLaren Tim. So, ooh, this is going to get spicy. But yeah, being a narrow track, I'm trying to think. It should get interesting in the first couple of laps once DRS gets kicked on and we start trying to jostle for position. You can't go 20 cars wide like you can in some sections of Hockenheim. And ooh, a lockup there from who was that? Was that G-Man? No, that wasn't G-Man. But G-Man is going off the track right now. That lockup was someone I don't know, nor do I really particularly care to figure out. So moving on.
Wow. Professional commentary team right there. I don't give a shit who just locked up.
Hey, it's better than Crofty. Then again, anything's better than Crofty.
I was about to say.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't lack for enthusiasm. I'll give the guy that. He is very enthusiastic, and you can tell he enjoys what he does. But sat next to Martin Brundle. Anyway, as we see McLaren weaving around, trying to get some warmth into the tires to go for his run. Like you were saying, qualifying is going to be a little bit more important here. You can still overtake, and with DRS being a thing, it should be pretty interesting. And unlike in Formula One, there'll be more tactics with it since you can use it to defend or attack. Your choice, use it when you want it, but once you blow it, it's gone. It'll, well, like I just said, be interesting to see. As what else is going on? Goons just sets a 125.3, which puts him in P4. Not the best lap from him, but where's his team now? He's not. Oh, yeah, there he is, Maestro. 8 tenths higher, so 10 tenths quicker even. Higher, quicker, same thing. Yeah, that was a hell of a lap from McLaren, unless everyone else is just sort of on an exploratory. I don't know.
Somebody's in the gravel.
Yeah, that looked like he was trying to go for a qualifying lap, then try to get out of the way, and then kind of locked up and did some in-between nonsense. Who is that? Boy, one of these days I will learn the cars, and that day will be like the last day of the championship. She's like, hey, I know everybody now, and it's done. I mean, that was
it's
Nemesis.
accurate. Yeah, it looked like a black and red car, which would be Nemesis, which we follow now. Mino and Fodon sets a 125 flat, which is just over a second behind Tim. Meanwhile, Tim is in league of his own quietly.
Yeah, that's Hamilton-esque. Just like everyone else is sort of close to one another, battling it out, and then he just comes and says, "Hey, watch this!"
Surprising, even JK, who was almost on pace in Hockenheim, all of a sudden, nowhere to be found. Gunses puts a new lap, but it's still just 9 tenths down on Tim. So unless Tim dies, we might have a problem on our hands, which is Tim is way too damn fast.
Hey, if the new Sharky turns out to be American, I am okay with that. I'm not nationalistic or anything. Why do you ask? As we see, who is that beautiful, beautiful individual? Box 197 sets a new lap, 2 seconds behind the leader, but puts him closer to that sort of, well, I guess it's looking like it's splitting into, well, 2 packs already. You have the 3-second crew and you have the 1-second crew, and then you just have McLaren up there just like, hey guys, it's nice up here. Come join the fun at some point. Now, question being, we have 50 seconds to go, and I know we had 18 signups for this race, so where the hell is the rest of the field?
It looks like... Yeah, it looks like the...
oh, spinner there! Who is that?
That's G-Man.
Yeah, white car turned around. G-Man spun himself right around, baby, like a record.
But yeah, as I was trying to say very unsuccessfully, it looks like Shark encountered technical issues just before the race, so he might not be able to take part in this, which is just lovely for our championship battle. But other than that, it looks like we have 12 cars today, so not the best turnout. Then again, Zolder is one of the most difficult tracks on the calendar, so it's not particularly too surprising that we are not able to get higher numbers as drivers struggle to get it done. Meanwhile, we have checkered flag, and the first one to cross is JK 124.8, which is the fastest for him and is good for 4th position. Gemini resets to pits, so no lap time from him. The next one to cross the line is gonna be Photon Burst, while we're trying to figure out what the hell cameras are doing, showing us anything but the cars. Photon Burst is going on the pit lane, so he is not gonna set the time. Not James and Maestro are right next to each other for their laps. Let's see how this will work. Maestro is on the pit lane. He's not gonna improve. Not James sets a lap, which is not gonna be counted. It's not good enough. Tim crosses the line and goes 123.7. Slightly faster than his previous result. It's not gonna alter the standings much, as if he needs to. Nemedis is gonna be the final car on track for our qualifying lap. Let's see if he's able to improve on his time. Currently he's 12th and dead last, and he puts a new best time for himself, which is 6.2 seconds behind the leader. And this is our grid. McLaren team from Photon Burst, from Gunsis, JK, Gemini, Baxi, Maestro, Psychedelics, Not James, Viperian, G-Man, and Nemedis. 12 cars on the grid, a little bit all over the place, but yet, gonna have to wait and see how terrible it's gonna be. We already have people honking their horns, which are for some reason included in the DTM cars.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like the fuck you button with the flashing lights. It's just there to, get everyone else's attention to be like, hey, well, as I just said, fuck you.
Unfortunately, they still do have the fuck you flash buttons. So it's like a double whammy.
Yep. So, unless something changes, expect to see McLaren Tim just running away with it, without Sharky there to moderate him.
Alright, we have lights, we have 2, we have 3, 5, 6 for some reason. And away we go, the first race of the second week of the Phoenix World Championship is underway. McLaren team is in control of the field on the inside. We have one of the... we have a contact between Photon and Gunsis. For some reason the goddamn camera is not working. There we go.
Yeah.
Gunsis in second place, with Gemnite now in top 3. Seriously, what the fuck is wrong with these cameras? McLaren team is in full control of the field. Meanwhile, behind now, James and Maestro squabble in 4th position. Maestro is able to stay in P5, but losing to not James. Meanwhile, back to pits. This is fine. JK
Trying to figure out the fucking cameras.
Yeah. G-Man is squabbling with Nemedis for 7th place. And keeps his position. Nemedis is dropping like rock from Photon, who had an unfortunate incident in turn 1 with Gunsis. Now recovering. Viperian is in the gravel right now, so he's gonna be slow to come back. Psychedelics is in 11th. He didn't have the start of his life either. Looks like we're single file for now, though.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's starting to settle this. We have a little bit of a touch up there between I can't tell who, because the fucking camera. Oh my god, this is absolutely nightmarish. I think that was... Whoa, JK! JK!
Oh, everybody is off!
What happened there?
Looks like JK decided to go into the pit lane, but very unorthodox way. Let's just
Did he mistake the pit lane for the track?
Looks like he decided to take his mandatory pit early on, but he decided to just take the gravel road instead of the, actual road.
I'm very confused right now.
We'll fight for 7th position, right?
I understand what's going on in this race.
We have a fight for 7th position right now. Baxi and G-Man side by side, G-Man on the inside for turn number 2 or 3, or I don't know, this is just one never-ending right turn. They're heading towards chicane side by side. You don't have two lines through there. G-Man on the outside just manages to break the Hungarian and keeps his 6th place. Nemedes meanwhile off the track and into the wall and in the chicane. Just a little bit too hard. Returns to track. We have Psychedelics just cruising past him, as well as Viperian. So Nemedes goes to 11th place. JK pitted very early on the first lap, but now he has a lot of free real estate. Well, a lot. We have 2 cars on Viperian and Nemedes, roughly, let's say, 5 seconds in front of him. And we have a squabble for 7th position. That's G-Man Maestro, who doesn't have any pace whatsoever, and who's that? Psychedelics with Baxi ahead of them all. So that's a 4-car battle for P6 on track.
It looks like Maestro, trying to get it. He had a better drive going out of there, but G-Man blocked him. So now that actually gives Psychedelics a run, who looks like he's going to try to go on the outside. Maestro covers that. And let's see, G-Man, is he going to slide up the track? Yes, he is. That gives Maestro the inside line, but now, and can he capitalize on it? Well, this camera is absolute anus, but Maestro is able to keep the grip after a small lock up there from G-Man, and looks like he's just going to swing right around the outside. G-Man gets the drive, has the inside again, locks up again. Maestro still on the outside, and eventually, finally, managed to get the overtake. Good move there from the Russian, actually without and executed, which is strange, as G-Man is locking up once again on the inside, trying to defend. Psych was never going to send that one. So that releases the Russian to go on ahead, trying to get, wow, Psychedelic now looks like he wants a piece all on that ass of G-Man. And let's see how this race develops. JK, meanwhile, is already within a 1.5-ish of Nemedes. So definitely quick. Now that the tire stop out of the way, should be able to start picking people off. And it's a decent trip between Viperion and Psych, about 5-ish seconds, call it. Once he gets there, should be fine, as McLaren is just running away with something McLaren hasn't done for many years now. Thank you, Honda, and Renault, and, well, Wishmarsh. If you get that meme, you're special. It seems like the front of the field is stringing out a bit. Kuntz is 4.5 behind, then Jem another about 1.5 behind him, and then a hell of a gap, 10 seconds all the way down to Photon.
Yeah, looks like the top 3 are running away, and the closest battle is gonna be towards the end of the field, with Jeke coming through already past Nemedes, and we have 2 Audis squabbling away. That's G-Man and Psychedelics locked in a battle. Maestro is kinda happy about it. He's able to pull a little bit of a gap on the both of them.
Yeah, well, Maestro, I don't know what happened at the start. Maybe he got held up, but didn't appear to have any speed, but it looks like he's finally getting himself into a rhythm. It's starting to chase down Baxi, and then after that, Baxi's not that far behind. Not far behind. What's his name? Not James. It actually just called him James, just to be cute. Then after that, you have Photon, but then you have a hell of a gap up to 3rd. So Maestro's best prospect, I think, right now is to get P4. Yeah, best prospect is probably P4. JK will be a bit of a wild card with his early stop. Already past Nemedes, and now 2 seconds approximately behind Viperian. So we'll see where he turns out in all of this. He needs to keep dispatching these cars quickly if he wants any sort of strategy to work. Where was he before he came in for the pit stop?
He was in the middle of that battle around, well, P4, P5 while it was together. Meanwhile, we'll talk about it later, as 2 Audis are side by side as G-Man and Psychedelics trading positions. That is turn 2 coming into turn 3. All together, Psychedelics tries to sweep around the outside, and so he does. Great move by the German. G-Man cannot do much about it. Meanwhile, we have a battle for P6 as Maestro catching up to Not James. And yeah, JK was in the middle of a battle. He didn't have the greatest of starts, but he peeled off to Pete's before the top 3 ran away, so he was just a few seconds behind them. We're gonna see where it ends up it ends up being. It looks like he is slightly faster than the leader, at least on the last lap, as he managed to close the gap by about half a second. But now he has Viperian in front of him to deal with, so inevitably he's gonna lose time in traffic. If I'm JK, I'm just praying for everybody to just peel off into the pit lane and take their mandatory stop right now. But I doubt that's gonna happen anytime soon. He's gonna have to do the on-track pass, and he does with relative ease with the use of DRS here. I don't think
Viperian pulled out of the way.
Yeah, Viperian was in no will to fight the Norwegian. He knows he's not on pace with him. Meanwhile, Baxley's taking his mandatory stop. He's gonna rejoin behind everybody, and looks like he's gonna be right next to Nemedis, rejoining right now. He's gonna take the long way around, but the point of rejoin is right at the apex of turn 2, which is probably the worst possible scenario, but looks like Nemedis is safely passed. JK, meanwhile, coming through, already charging to G-Man. G-Man is not willing to give the position so easily, side by side into the chicane.
Yeah, I've been watching this battle while you were looking down the field, as we now see JK eventually does get it done. But yeah, G-Man wanted to fight that out, and, you know, well within his rights to do it. This is for position. I'm not so sure I'd be wanting to fight JK, though, at this time. I remember back the few times I have raced with JK, he's one of those ones that, I mean, you could defend against him, but eventually you're just slowing yourself up far too much, and if you have prospects further up the field, you just might as well let him go. He was definitely one of those ones, if I recall correctly, that I would typically let go if I realized he was that much faster than me, just because he's going to do it anyway. He's got a pretty good overtake on him, so we watched that here fight, a little bit of resistance for G-Man, but eventually made him surrender, and now he continues the charge up the field as we see Maestro coming into the pits, now dropping down to 10th, and JK up to 7th, with Psychedelics ahead of him. Psych actually had a really good couple laps here, because he's pulling way away from G-Man, and Viperion actually as well closing up with the gap in front of him. So we'll see how this evolves throughout the rest of the race, but now all eyes really on JK. Ball stake or some kind of calamity for McLaren. I can't really see doing it, considering every time Guntzis looks like he's getting a little bit closer, McLaren just opens up seconds. So meanwhile, Gem is within a second of Guntzis, so this might turn into a battle relatively shortly.
Definitely. Last lap, Gemini closed the gap by another half a second. Meanwhile, Nemedis had a little bit of a spin on his own, and now even further off the back. JK, meanwhile, continues his march up the field. Now he caught up with Psychedelics. Psych missed the turn a little bit, so JK would like to go all over that DRS button and get the German dispatched. And German is in no wish to just hand over the position, though he breaks a little bit earlier, because that chicane is not where you want to be too wide in particular, not unless it's the end of a race. So JK gets another position, back up to 6th place with nobody in front of him pitting just yet, so he might be in contention. We're gonna have to wait and see. Meanwhile, we still have somewhat of a battle for 2nd position, Guntzis and Geminite side by side. Meanwhile, G-Man able to get the pass done on Viperion, I guess repass, as Viperion tried to pull a move into turn 1. Right, where are we?
It looks like JK is lining up James right now. Gonna try to probably get this done in the next lap, I would assume. Continuing his charge up the field. What would you say a pit stop is here? Around 25 seconds, something like that. Hang on, James is defending, taking the inside, which now becomes the outside because of the inside. Was there contact there? Yep, there was contact there.
Had to be contact.
Yep. And JK though comes out better for it and loses almost no time.
James rejoins in the battle with his teammate, with Viperion. Gemini on a pit lane. James rejoins behind Viperion and will try to attack into the next turn. On the inside, side by side, teammates battle. Viperion had no desire to give that position away. Just slams the door shut on James.
Yeah, I can't really assign blame for that contact because, well, the camera is, like I said, ass. So I have no idea what happened in that corner. It looked like, I think, what? James had the outside, which then became the inside, which then became the outside, and I'm guessing there was a gentle touch somewhere in there. They look like they were running side by side. James is defending very, very aggressively, let's say. But I don't know what happened is we also now see James and then Syke in the pits. Maestro, meanwhile, setting a personal best time, and Baxi as jumping those two pitters as well. So where does this leave us in the standing? So Jekate now is
4 seconds behind Gem.
3.5, 4 seconds, behind Gem Knight. And back to what we were saying before things started going calamitous, what would you say, a 25-second pit stop here-ish?
Something like that, yes. So,
So really, everything up to third is in direct no, excuse me, I did my math wrong completely there.
Fifth?
Everything up to third to third. That would be in contention.
Well, I mean, everything but Tim is not set in stone. It looks like.
Well, right now, as it stands, Goonstis would come out ahead of him in the pits. Like right now, there'll definitely be battles going on for that. But you also have to remember, as tires start to fade, the later Goonstis pits, the better position that puts him in, because even if Jekate's on a tear, his tires are going to eventually start to go away. And I don't know what the DEG is like on the circuit, to be completely honest. I don't know the circuit very well. So it'll be an interesting battle for sure.
Yeah, apologies. Viperion pulls off into the pit lane, so we're not going to have a battle between him and G-Man. It looks like Baxi is sitting behind Maestro, trying to bob and weave through the field. They're gonna get Viperion here. Looks like Goodness is now 10 seconds behind Tim, and he does need to pit sooner rather than later due to his tires slowly but surely losing pace. And most of his rivals already on the brand new tires, but Gemini just bitten, so he will get the best kind of rubber underneath his wagon right now. And Goodness is not in pits. Naturally.
Yeah, you always want to have high quality rubber on your wagon. The one thing I would say to that though is Tim is still pulling away from Goonsis. So unless Goonsis is a lot harder on his tires than Tim, which from history I'd have no reason to believe that, they still got life in them yet, and Tim is just, well, he's just pulling the gap, as we have a 17-second gap back down to Photon. And so Jekate, let's see, hasn't really closed or on the leader, and it doesn't look like he's really closed on Gem that much either. Is it a crossover point? I can't say. I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see for them to come into the pits, as we have 15 minutes of the English. 15 minutes remaining. There we go. I can speak. As G-Man, speaking of, comes into the pit lane now. We'll see where he comes out with respect to Syke. They were pretty close together when we last saw them.
Baxi and Maestro still entangled. Baxi is not pressuring the Russian, but he's staying really, really close to him within a second. And both together after the pit stops, they are passing the field as G-Man rejoins the track. Psychedelics just goes through, but G-Man is gonna be right on the apex here, so he is a couple seconds behind the German with the new pit. Yeah, with the new tires. Meanwhile, Alid in the pits, Gunsis is in the pits as well. Here we go. The fun part is coming as both of them in the pits now. We are on board with the Latvian, as looks like Tim is not gonna have any problems. Gunsis back on the pit lane now. We'll see where he's gonna rejoin. He's gonna have to be close with Gemini. Foden goes past Gunsis, but Foden is yet to take his pit stop. Gunsis, the pit limiter comes off, has to go a long way around turn 1, and he'll have to rejoin in an awkward spot, remember? And there goes lapped car of Nemedis, which is sure is gonna be a problem. But most importantly, Gemini there in his rear view mirror, a second and a bit back.
Yep, and Gem Knight, if I'm not mistaken, hasn't pit yet?
He did.
Okay, so who all has not pitted yet in this battle?
Looks like Photon has not pitted, and he might be the only one in the field that hasn't done so yet.
Okay. whoa, holy shit! Night. Whoa, that was unstable going in the corner. Just
That
basically
was
try to do...
a set and a
That
half.
was... Yeah.
But it
That was a
almost,
hell of a flick.
it almost worked though, as he's now right on the gearbox,
Ass.
I guess. Yeah.
Right up the ass of Timo, if anybody remembers that video.
What is even more important, if you look behind, you see a black and yellow car. JK is now with that pack, so we have a three-way battle for a podium, and it's gonna be a second position on the podium as Photon will finally take his pit stop eventually. So we have ourselves a battle, guys.
Yeah, this is going to get interesting. I'm happy to say I called it. JK is now in contention for P2 with that early stop to get him out of the traffic, release him.
The more important,
tires.
there's lap traffic. Nemidis is ahead of that pack. He's gonna see blue in a moment, but he's not obliged to just stop and get the fuck out of the way. He'll try to make it as easy as possible, but there are three cars behind him, and he needs to make sure all three of them are not getting stuck behind him, which is...
Getting out of the way. He's not getting out of the way. Ooh, this is going to crunch everybody. This is going to bring JK
There he
right
goes.
into...
There he goes now, but
right into contention.
everybody's bunched up. Will Gemini try ascent? He does a kind of defensive move, trying to make sure JK doesn't dive on himself. He loses a little bit of time, and JK is now really, really close behind, looking at the rear panel of the American. Will there be sand in the corner? JK is looking, still looking. Kind of does half a move, but Gemini is just giving him the corner.
Did they touch? Again, fucking cameras, I couldn't tell. I don't know if they touched or not, but it was looking like, Gemini got a little bit of the... Gemini's off.
Gemini cuts the corner. Looks like he's not very comfortable with that battle, as he made a couple of mistakes. Left the inside wide open for JK, and then lost control into the next turn. So now he's a couple seconds back, but it's still close enough, and we'll still have a battle for ourselves. What's depressing is that that battle is happening 20 seconds behind our leader. Meanwhile, Baxi is on the pit lane. Did he not pit before? I thought he did.
I thought he did too.
But he's on the pit lane once again. Something happened with him, and he's taken yet another stop, which means Maestro is unleashed all by himself in fourth position. We'll see where Photon rejoins. Photon should rejoin behind that group, but the battle for podium are shooting themselves in the foot consistently with that, so that might just give Photon a fighting chance on the new tires once he pits.
Possibly so. I don't know. It's going to be a hell of a gap, though, to make up. Considering it's going to be what's that math? It's going to be about 13 seconds he's going to have to make up. I'm not so sure that the tire deg is going to be that significant that he could be able to do that. Baxi, that's a mysterious one. Maybe he was trying to get cute with the fuel and fucked up something in the pit stop. I don't know. But the Gemini issues really started actually a little bit before in the first chicane where he went off the track and then rejoined. Thankfully, the FIA aren't here to give him like a 20-second penalty for bullshit reasons. So he just got back on with it. But then, like I said, I don't know if there was contact or if he just really corner and slid out. I wish we had more like a helicopter cam or something like that. That would definitely help the situation. But you know, we're limited in our abilities.
Goods is off the track a little bit. He picks up the gravel trap. That will definitely compromise his run on the start-finish straight. And as we can see, JK is immediately on his rear bumper. We have the fight reigniting with JK mildly ignoring the track limits there in the chicane.
Yeah, but it's going to be exciting either way. Hopefully the stewards get another bit of a clip there, but I don't know what the limits are, to be honest. So I cannot say. They did not give me a position of power in this series, thankfully.
For some reason. I
have enough trouble, if anybody's familiar with Donut Operator, I'm a moderator there, and I have enough trouble keeping track of those insane idiots. I can't keep track of, well, a group of 20 of them on the racetrack. And they're all insane idiots in their own beautiful, special ways. Moving on to what you're wanting to see rather than my pontifications, this battle between Jackie and Gunsis is hotting up as Photon still stays out.
To me,
Well, I mean, the gap is pretty much staying the same between him and McLaren. So he's keeping pace or McLaren's backing off. But if McLaren's backing off, I'd expect to see Gunsis catching. So this one's a bit of a brain twister for me. I'm going to have to spend a minute trying to figure this out. Well, I'm sure Ilya will entertain you with more rant.
Yeah, entertainment is not what I would call my rambling. But it looks like Photon will try to pit as late as possible so he doesn't have to warm his tires up, as it takes a couple of laps. So maybe he'll pit on the last lap and hope that whatever he's doing now is good enough to get around. Well, he's gonna rejoin behind Gemknight as it stands, but the battles are still going on. So maybe he's looking for somebody to lose more time and then pop up right in front of him for the final couple of laps, as we have 7 minutes plus 1 lap remaining in the first race. We have already 3 cars being lapped and 2 more in target side for our leader McLaren team, who's 7 seconds now in the lead. There he is, Photon burst in the pits, as we were saying.
It makes no sense with how hard this racing is right now to do that on the last lap, because last lap is when people are going balls to the wall and typically ignoring various rules and conventions. As we see, almost a move there from Jeke on Gunsis.
Oh, Photon missed his
line of start for now.
Looks like Photon missed his pit box and is now doing a little bit of a dance on pit lane.
Oh shit.
He might not be getting the tires. He just stopped and he just rejoined, so he lost about 10 seconds in the pit lane, and that definitely caused him a gap to Gemknight, but that might put him behind Maestro now.
Making a move. Is Jeke? No. Ooh, Jeke looked like he was about to try and make a move there on Gunsis. Thought better of it. This is not the time to throw it down the inside. Like I was saying, last lap typically people ignore those kind of things and just go for it. So I was wondering why you'd want to have cold tires for that, but doesn't matter one way or another, because now with a bungle pit stop, looks like Photon is behind Maestro, ahead of Psych by a significant amount, but also now behind Maestro by a significant amount. We know Maestro is very, very robust in his driving, let's say.
6 seconds there, but Photon will have brand new tires, so he is able to just push it to the very limit if he can. Meanwhile, Gunsis and Jeke is still locked in a battle with Gemknight a few seconds back, so if any of them make a mistake, they're most likely losing the position, or, well, basically getting in a battle with Gemknight, who is just lurking behind. JK was off the track a little bit in the final chicane as he grabbed a little bit of grass on the exit. Looks like Psychedelics might be off the track. Yes, Psychedelics is off in the chicane. He's trying to rejoin. Still stationary. Lets G-Man through. Viperian through, and finally rejoins right in front of our leader. Because, of course... So, Psychedelics a little bit too hot into the... what is that? It's third chicane, I think. As he lets the leader through, and he lost a couple of positions late in the race. That's not what you want to see.
No, definitely not. A mistake there probably, as, well, thankfully, didn't have a mistake into McLaren Tim, because, well, that would have sucked for McLaren, who's run a fantastic race with the 20-second gap. Holy shit. Before the pit stops, it was around 10 seconds, and since then, it's only grown bigger. I'm surprised to see Gemknight not catching up with Jeke and Gunsis as they keep battling back and forth. The pace is sort of kind of equalized. I'd expect, well, but then again, JK really hasn't been pushing Gunsis that hard. 1 or 2 attempts in a lap, but really hasn't been forcing Gunsis to defend, so maybe that makes a little bit more sense on second thought. As Maestro and Photon, let's see, it's about 7 seconds, which is what it was after the pit stops, so nothing going there, as now Viperion is a lap down, meaning up to P7 have felt the wrath of the blue flags, as you know, Sebastian Vettel loves so much from his radio. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen here. Does Jeke have something in reserve that he's going to be able to use? We saw him close up a few laps ago, and there was a chance there. Decided, though, not to go for it, which makes me think, well, since he didn't go for an act of desperation, I'm assuming Jeke is confident that he has something else in the tank. What that is, I don't know. We also don't have any information on their DRS usage, which would be very nice to know in these sort of circumstances, so we know who has what, when, where, why, how. As we get a little bit of a bobble there from Goose's on acceleration, but it goes straight into another corner, so nothing happening there. But Jeke is definitely closer here. Is he going to try to send it on the inside?
He's
Thinks
looking
about it, but doesn't do it. Yep, look, but didn't touch. Although there might be a little touch there, as he's right up his ass. Going for a turn 1 overtake, or whatever the hell this turn is. This isn't turn 1. Yep, here we go.
He's looking
Jeke
side by
going on
side.
the
There we go.
Stick? Is he going to make it stick? He keeps it on the inside, but that becomes the outside. Knowing these little chicanes, these chicanes are just, they're the ultimate cock tease. It's just like, yeah. But guess what? You're on the outside now.
The difference is he has all the DRS in the world. Gunsis doesn't have anything. The battle is heating up. We have 2 minutes plus 1 lap to go. There's gonna be about 3 more laps for Jeke to do something. It's not desperation mode just yet. He still can pick his fights. He needs 1 move done. He needs to stay close, stay vigilant, and find that. But if he can't do that in about 2 laps, he will just need to send it. And if he sends it, if there's an issue, still 4 seconds behind is Gemini.
Yep.
He's
there for Jeke, and I don't know if I could point out one weakness with Jeke from all the times I've watched him and raced with him, he admit to that hard. Eventually, you reach a point where you have to make a decision where you just got to send it, be aggressive, and use that overrun to basically block the acceleration of your opponent and get the overtake done that way. Ayrton Senna used to do that all the time. He would position you either had to go down or you were going to slow down. He'd make the overtake that way. The overtake style I use quite a bit, maybe too much. Ask around. But Jeke is much more a fan of the easy overtake, this ease it past the, which is merits, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's worse, but in a situation like this, seconds slow, it's probably going to be this lap plus 1, depending on where the leader is actually. I don't know if Jeke is going to be able to get it done, and Gunsis being a very, very good driver in his own right, and also knowledgeable of the ways of defense, quite well. As you can see, he's positioning the car well, but he's not overreacting. We've seen some drivers further down. They'd be on the inside right now trying to defend a phantom lunge, which isn't going to happen.
May I just say,
knowing your opponent.
Meanwhile, at some point with Miss Gemini, it lost 20 seconds, so he had enough somewhere.
Oh shit! Yeah, good point.
but he is 5 seconds clear of Maestro. That's why I'm not paying much attention to it. He's still safe all around, but he is no longer in the battle for second. The leader is taking the final chicane. He is gonna cross the finish line to trigger the white flag this time. So Jeke has...
Nope, 2 laps. No. Leader has 2 laps to go according to the screen.
And he is crossing the line now.
Go.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, that was confusing as hell, because the timer would have waited. It said 2 laps to go. I was like, okay, he must have made the line.
So 1 lap left. Jeke has to go now. If he has anything in the tank, he needs to send it. Meanwhile, Photon is 2 seconds behind Maestro. He's catching up, but I'm not sure that's just enough. They're very close. Identical lap times for Gunsis and Jeke. I don't think Maestro is gonna give it up, but he's under pressure now. Under pressure? No, I'm not gonna say that again.
Pushing down on me. Pushing down on you.
Leader is in a class of his own. Jeke is still hunting down Gunsis. It's gotta have a move really, really fast. He probably...
He's gotta send it here. Send it... no, a little further back. Maybe not here. Ooh, that'd be tough.
He still has
I would send it there, but then again...
He still has 2 chicanes to go. He's pushing hard. He's close to Gunsis. There is a prime opportunity right here and there. On the inside. He's looking. Is he going? He's not going. Gunsis just slams the door hard. Meanwhile, our leader is in the final... Oh, Jeke lost it!
There he goes!
Jeke lost it!
Oh, damn it!
And he's done.
I saw it coming.
I saw it coming with the way he took that chicane. He was so far up Goonsis'
Meanwhile,
ass.
McLaren Tim
Say,
crosses the
Wins the
line
race.
and he wins the race in a dominating fashion. We're gonna head back to a fight behind, as there is just 1 second behind Maestro and Photon. If Maestro makes a mistake, there is Gemknight right in front of him. There is lap traffic in front of all of them. There is less than a second in between. One mistake and we might have an issue on our hands. It's still a battle for 4th through 6th, all close together. Gemknight, Maestro, and Photon Burst. Photon with a really good recovery from a bit mistake. It's just 1 second. He gained 6 over Maestro. He is very close. 1 chicane to go. Will he be able to send it across over? Looking
too far
right here,
back. Too far
closing
back. He's
down.
not going to be able to do this. Unless he really sends it, and he doesn't. Yep, there we go. Oops. So
Good.
didn't hear of P4 through 6 unless we have a really big mistake. But I saw the second that I saw how close Jekke was to Goonsis, I was gonna say if you had let if I had gotten a chance to jump in there, I was gonna say watch Jekke light it up, watch Jekke light the rear up because he was being very uncharacteristically aggressive on the throttle. I could tell he was gonna try and do something cute with the overrun, but was too over aggressive on the throttle. Ended up spinning himself, which is a shame considering I think that there was another opportunity or two to be able to get that move done. But in the end, a mistake, an uncharacteristic mistake from the Norwegian, relegates him to the last place on the podium, with Goonsis taking P2 and McLaren Tim winning it all. Almost saw a comeback there, like you were saying, from Photon, but in the end, would have taken, as is usual with the way things work, would have needed one more lap and probably could have gotten himself in position, but it was not to be. Psychedelic ended up P9 after a couple of interesting battles in the race. I don't know what happened to G-Man. Did he just retire? No, he's in 7th.
He's in 7th. He's
So
in front of
after a nice move from Psychedelic, he wasn't able to maintain it. Spun somewhere, as we said. We didn't really see it because we were more interested in Jekke. But sorry, Psych. But yeah, and then not James, P10. Boxy 11th after. I still can't figure out what that second pit stop was.
Yes, we're not sure what happened there. But he dropped all the way down to 11th. Race to forget for Nemaitis. I don't think he was hoping for much, but he was a lot down. He had a few spins, so if he manages to clean it up with a few drivers making mistakes, he might fight for a couple of extra points in the second race. But for now, you see the situation at the end of race 1 on your screens. Tim is not even near anybody else. I'm not sure what needs to happen for Tim to not win race 2 as well, apart from him being dumped in turn 1, which is entirely possible. But
or mistake. I mean, these cars, from again my 2 laps that I put in them, they seem very hard to spin, but they seem like F1 cars, and this to reach that break point. Since then, with them being so downforce heavy, once you go past that point of no return, you are going for a ride, baby. And so I guess if we see. If he has to defend and does something, but again, unless he blows qualifying or something, we'll have to really wait for. We'll have to wait and see. But I can't see it. I just see him running away with the next race.
yeah, it was absolute domination. We have 20 seconds, so he almost made up a whole pit stop on the back behind him. But it looks like we have ourselves a couple of battle packs. And Photon would have joined that battle pack if not for an issue at the pit stop where he missed his pit crew and had to reverse in the pit lane. Lost him a lot of time, though set up quite a battle. So we're definitely going to have battles for the podium here, there, and everywhere, and a battle in the mid pack. Though it's going to have to wait a few minutes as we are setting up for second part of our weekend with qualifying coming up. But until then, enjoy a little bit of people trying to sell you shit. We'll be back shortly.
We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Norman Mitchell, standing here in front of BBC Wellness Center in Houston, Texas.
Mid-County area is where we're going. Port Arthur, Nederland, Port Neches.
We're in Canovanas, the shelter here in Puerto Rico.
We're here at Jardín Pushkin in Colonia Roma.
The hallmark of disasters is you have to do what you do, you just have to do more of it faster. 2017 has seen more large-scale emergencies in sequence than ever before in direct relief 70-year history. The people who know the most, have the most at stake, are going to do the best job with the resources they have are the ones who live there.
Just received a large shipment of critical medicine from Direct Relief.
Some gauze, some bandages for people that are managing the response and rescue efforts.
You're standing strong, united with every other organization providing primary care and critical access to those individuals who have been most impacted.
I remember that guy, he's a bit of an idiot. He stopped. He lofts on my wheels like, fuck you. I'm not turning. I hit the wall, but I hit one of the bumps because I lost. Heavy damage. Don't try to kill yourself. GT3, get a GT3. He's fucking idiots. At least I think something bad happened to somebody in front of us. Welcome to Daytona. Checker flag. Fantastic job, everyone.
finally, we are back. It's the DTM. We're here in...
This is the fastest form of touring car racing. We've got 3 of the biggest manufacturers in the world.
Safety car deployed. Safety car deployed.
From where we came on the grid, to be in the points was my dream. To be on the podium is amazing.
Does it improve the lives of people? That's the true measure of any technology or any new investment. And you hope to God that basic core human element is never lost, no matter how technologically advanced we get as people. So the human case has always been strong for what direct relief does. People who are poor or stuck in these terrible circumstances need help. That basic idea to listen, not impose, to be respectful and not arrogant is still as valid as it was in 1948. Principles really don't change, and I think direct relief, fortunately, started with good ones of being open-minded, kind of big-hearted with respect to people's needs, and hard-headed when it comes to other people's money. When you look back and think direct relief has played a significant role in many of the signature humanitarian events over the past 70 years, the combination of those characteristics has served the organization well, and they're sort of timeless. You're surrounded by inspiration if you see it. I think anytime, if you've never done something, or you've done something at one scale, it's scary to think how you can do it at 10 times the scale. But at the end of the basic decision was pretty easy. Why would we not do this when the signals were all pointing in the right direction? The dedication of the building is really a rededication to the cause, to the idea, and a commemoration to the people whose generosity made it possible. What it represents is a much greater capability to help more people with tools that we have embedded in it, with the experience of 70 years. To bring those together in this building so we can do more in the same efficient way we've always tried to do it is really exciting. And we are sobered by the challenge, but deeply thankful for the opportunity to keep doing what Direct Relief has been doing for the past 70 years.
Hello and welcome back to Phoenix World Championship, where we are starting our qualifying run for race number 2 in Zolder and race number 4 in the championship. Just under 10 minutes for these 12 drivers to figure out the fastest way around this narrow track at Zolder.
Yeah, hopefully we get as exciting of a second race as we had a first race. Even though we don't have the biggest field here, we do still have drivers that are able to give us a show, and what a show they did put on for us. Unfortunately, curtailed in the end by Jekke's spin and some other general fuckery down the order, but we had entertainment for a good 20 minutes there. Qualifying is go, as we said. Hopefully you've bought all the products we advertised to you and can pay for my continued existence in graduate school, assuming I don't just end the misery myself. But moving on from that dark subject, we see McLaren Tim starting his lap.
This existential crisis brought to you by
Backmarkers F1. We're introducing you to existential dread since 1991.
Fuck, you're old.
Or 5. One of the two.
Speaking of giving us money and existential dread, we want to thank Gunsis for a $100 donation towards Direct Relief campaign. Thank you very much. And we totally didn't shit-talk you in the first race, so much appreciated.
Yes, forget everything you heard and don't watch the replay. Oopsie. Keep the money coming. Or keep the change.
We're not gonna see any of that money, so it's okay, we can keep doing that. Either way, the first time laps are about to end. McLaren team is leading the pack. It's a very short time before the qualifying, so you have to perform really well from a very beginning to be able to, well, get something done.
Yeah, it's like one big Q3 shootout. Not very long. Could probably get 2 good lap time runs in here. At least with these cars, you can. That graphic is a little bit glitched because it says 154 miles an hour and then 300 miles an hour. If these cars went 300 miles an hour, there'd be some explaining to do, but that's supposed to say kilometers an hour. I assume, unless we've just violated the laws of physics. McLaren Tim sets a lap which is well, his first, and it is a 9/10 about ahead of Photon. Whoa! Jekke must have had a shit lap somewhere because he's a second down. What was actually? But then again, wasn't he a second down?
He was. I mean, Photon decided to show up. It looks like the grip hacks is spreading throughout Timberwolves racing, as now Tim's teammate is deciding to be real fast.
Yeah, that's a hell of an effort from Photon. I don't remember. Wasn't he like 5th, 6th, something like that in our first race? Like he was doing well.
Yes, he was set to be 5th, but he had an issue on the pit road, so he finished behind Maestro in 6th, though constantly gaining time. So right now we have 9 cars crossing the start-finish line, and only 3 of them managed to do a clean lap. So that says everything about the state of things right now.
Yeah, a little bit too far off in the chicane, and it dings you. I had that happen to me when I was taking out for on-track photography, as it were. Drivers did that or not. I tried to stay out of the way. As Psychedelic now sets a time which is a bit, and by a bit I mean 2 seconds. Tim goes and improves on his lap. Now has a 0.925 second.
Master sets 25.4 as his first lap that actually counts. Looks like the next to cross the line is gonna be...
Jekke's closing it.
The next is gonna be Viperian to cross the line. He's gonna be contending with Psychedelics at the line. He sets a lap that is faster. Then he's 6/10 ahead of the German, now in P5.
Yeah, Jekke ended up doing a better lap and coming out 6/10 behind McLaren. So the gap is closing, but unless we see like a moment of inspiration from that, don't see McLaren getting caught. Gunsis now sits a 25.041, just sticks in between Photon and Maestro, right next to his teammate. So I'm sure he's happy because he'll know that those two get along oh so well on track together. And what's next?
Psychedelics is next to cross
slowest.
He's crossed next to cross the line again as he's taken the final chicane. Let's see if he improves. Nemedis is 1.5 seconds behind Psychedelics, so that's not a worry. But he would like a reply to Hyperion, and he does so a 10th ahead of the Kiwi. So we have a battle heating up in the back of a pack as well.
Definitely, it's going on everywhere as it was last race. Encouraging to see that there's still a decent pack that's within a second and a half of McLaren Tim. Not that that means that they're going to be contending for the lead, but that they all should be able to contend with one another and provide us with some excitement as we see backseat P6 ahead of Psychedelic as McLaren Tim begins another flying lap. Let's see if he's able to improve or not. Not like he really needs it. Jack K makes it pits and it should be on a outlap right now.
Yeah, Baxi was just 7/100ths of a second faster than Psychedelics, so we have a 3-way dance for 6th place right now. We have a 4-way dance for P2, and we have Tim in a league of his own. Currently going on his fast lap, 1/10 faster on his Sector 1 time, so he's still improving. Let's see if he can keep that pace up for 2 more sectors. Touch the gravel a little bit, that shouldn't be too much of a worry, though we are hitting the chicanes, and this is all about how much do you dare to cut and lift a wheel. We're about to approach the Sector 2 time. Let's see if he's still faster. No, he's 2/10 slower. He lost 3/10 on his own lap in the chicanes. Let's see if he's able to pull it back in the final sector. I'm looking for JK. He's gonna
JK's
be
abandoned
in
that
front
lap.
of him.
He's about to do one. JK's about to hit a new lap. Here we go. That one was 6/10 down, but JK's going again. Let's see how he's able to do on this lap as it goes a little... Okay, that was just on the edge there.
Tim crosses the line, 7/10 slower. Not a good lap for our leader. Maestro sets his new best in 5th, just a 10th behind Gunsis. Photon crossed the line. I don't think there was an improvement as he parks the car for another run. Nemedis off the track and into the wall again. So that lap is a write-off for him. We have 2 minutes to go in our qualifying session. Drivers are still taking the laps. JK is in the middle sector. He was not successful in his previous hot lap. He's crashed it and is now doing another one. We don't have a time in sector by sector, so we're gonna have to wait and see what he does at the start-finish line. We are on board with the Norwegian number 46 Team Hufflepuff, the only Hufflepuff on the track right now, as his teammate and championship contender Sharky encountered technical issues. Psychedelics improves to P7. Goods's improves to P3 with 24/7. Photon needs to provide an answer. JK a little bit loose in the last turn. Let's see if he's able to improve.
Nope.
He does not. It's 24.524, 1/1000th of a second slower than his personal best. Meanwhile, McLaren Tim improves by another 3/10, setting to 123.5 and just flexing on everybody because he can.
Oh my gosh, this guy is insane.
40 seconds left. JK is not gonna be improving on this lap as he's 3/10 down. I don't think he's gonna get another lap. Meanwhile, we have Gemnite about to cross start-finish line. Let's see.
JK just pulled out.
Alright, so he is done. Gemnite had time to start his flying lap, so we're gonna be on board with him as he is having his final attempt. He's currently 6th at the rear end of that 5-car pack fighting for P2. JK is done. He's not able to respond. Everybody else is on track. That's Gunsis, Photon, Maestro, Gemini, Psychedelics, Baxi, and Viperion all on the pit lane. Nemedis is not going to provide anything. Gunsis sets the fastest lap for himself. Maestro is off track, so he's done. Gunsis improves 3/10 away and 4/10 behind JK. It's gonna be Photon and Gemnite. Nemedis in the pit lane. Gemnite spawn, and Gemnite hit the bollard and almost flipped over. So that's qualifying run done for him. Photon passes him here, and Photon is gonna be the one and only car that's able to improve right now. He's in the sector 3. Let's see if he's able to beat Gunsis. He needs about 2.5 tenths, 2500ths and 3/10 to beat JK to get onto the first row. He is in the final chicane as we speak. Let's see, we're not sure about live timing. We're gonna have to wait and see till the timing line. He crosses the line and he is improving, but just not enough to get past Gunz's good lap by Photon Burst, but not good enough. G-Man unable to set a timed lap, so he's gonna be starting in a not so good position for himself. He might be right alongside you for some reason.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have...
Yeah, someone just...
Yeah, he's gonna have a nice view of the broadcast vents that you can see here. As we are lining up for race number 2 of the weekend. If I can find some sort of a camera. Let's just go on board for the start. Let's just go with Gunsis, who start P3. Let's try something different. We are on board for the race start with our leaders. You'll be able to see it how the race leaders see it. 30 minutes plus 1 lap. Once again, now with passion. We have lights. We are about to go...
the time warp again.
About to go green. 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, 5 light. G-Man disconnected from us over 6 light. And away we go. Good start from Gunsis. Good start from Tim. JK is a little bit slower. Let's see what happens here. We're all over the place. Gunsis on the inside trying to fight for the lead. JK sweeps around the outside. They're all over the place. Gemnet is a little bit loose. McLaren team keeps the lead. JK is right behind him. He'll have to make a move fast if he wants to stay with him. Photonburst and Maestro fighting for P4. Meanwhile, Gunsis is a little bit in no man's land with Photonburst behind him and JK in front of him. Photonburst gets in front of Maestro and is trying to challenge Gunsis side by side into the chicane. Photonburst trying to fight for the podium. He's on the inside and he makes the move stick. Brilliant move for the Dutchman as he finds himself in 3rd place. Maestro is now behind Gunsis trying to make a move on the teammate. He'll have to sweep around the outside. Gemnet is behind them both, looking for a move, but calmly staying behind and not doing anything exceptionally stupid as we are now line of stun finally.
Wow. Oh. Key thing from this, Jackie is sticking with McLaren Tim. The two of them seem to be pulling a little bit away from the rest of the pack, but they're sticking this. Where is this English? And look like there's going to be a spin there from Gunsis. And
side by side still. Maestro gets through. Well, no, Gemnet is not fancying the move just yet. He's being cautious. But now Maestro is in front of Gunsis. Maestro is the slower one. So we might have ourselves yet more phenomenal racing experience.
Indeed, and phenomenal racing experiences are what we strive to bring you here and routinely fail.
Back in the pit lane, case. Not James in the pit lane, Nimedes on the pit lane, 3 back markers, all pitting together on lap 1.
Interesting, trying to take the Jeke strategy. Notably, Jeke did not do that this time, but he is in a much more advantageous position than he was in the previous race, so we'll have to see how that goes. Meanwhile, people seem to be spreading out just a little bit. Gunsis and Gemnet are half a second apart from one another, but other than that, there's pretty much a second gap between everybody on the track.
Gunsis is looking for a move against his teammate. He sweeps around the outside. He'll have a preferred line into the chicane. He's on the inside. Maestro is not given an inch. Rides over the curbs, but loses the position to Gemnet as well. And Psychedelics might be fancy a look if Maestro doesn't pick it up. Maestro will try to make a move back on Gemnet. Nice predatory tactics by the J&J Motorsports car, just waiting patiently and then pouncing on the out-of-shape Maestro right here.
Yeah, you know, Maestro didn't want to give 1 inch and ended up taking a good solid 6 or 7 because that defense of his put him at risk to the cars behind, and Gemnite, as you said, decided to take full advantage of the situation and make the passes. Everyone in the mother
looking
sets
for
a
move on the inside, selling Gemnite a dummy and diving inside. Gemnite a little bit wide, sideways, saves the car, but loses the position. Psychedelics might fancy a look right now. Round the outside, he tries to go. Gemnite crosses over and keeps the position, but Maestro is ahead again. we are having ourselves a race and a half. Psychedelics with Viperian still staying together with this bunch. We still have a battle pack going on. Not James and Baxi, meanwhile, not James in the pit lane again.
What's going on? This is the second time we've seen that in this many races. Did they not? I recall in the first race in Hockenheim, someone had a problem where their pit settings got screwed up, and so they came in, stopped, came out, and then essentially, well, nothing happened on their car. Maybe that's what's happening here. Maybe that's what happened in the last race as well.
The drivers have to set up the change before they enter the pit box. So if they can't do that, they won't have any service done. So if that's happened and they have not done a preset, so that might be happening. But second stop.
It's the only reason I could think.
Yeah, but that second stop for Not James, and that basically throws him out of contention here.
Yeah.
And now the fastest lap.
I mean, hell, with how short.
Yeah.
With how short this track is, he's gonna be lapped shortly.
Definitely. We have a battle going on for P7. Meanwhile, Photon is off the track, losing positions. Photon, I'm trying to figure out where he is. He's in a gravel trap in, where is it? That's turn 2. He's in a gravel trap of turn 2, and he's all the way down to P8. Such a great start for the Dutchman, and such a bad outcome. We're not sure what happened there. He wasn't really close to anybody, with JK flying away and Guns has been somewhat back, so I'm gonna assume that's a driver mistake. That cost him dearly.
Or something like that, yeah. Yeah, unfortunate to see, considering, as you said, the promise that he had at the beginning of this race. So now that we can all settle down and breathe a little bit, where does this leave us? McLaren Tim is pulling away from JK, but not that
Psychedelic
quickly.
spun out. Spun out. That is the final chicane. He rejoins behind Photon Burst. Guns off the track. Guns is spun out. What is going on? That is Guns
What the hell?
Off in the right-hander, and he's still trying to figure it out. He's still facing the wall, unable to rejoin. Now he backs up the track. He's now in P8, and he lost all the time.
Maestro's in the pits.
In the pits, using that advantage. Gunzes will have to now do a recovery and a half. He's definitely not a contention for a podium, as he is 19 seconds.
Pits, yes.
19 seconds behind Gemini. He'll have to try to salvage P5 from everyone. Everyone just died.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. He's immediately went into the pits, which is smart. You're already down, take the poison and go for it. Get this out of the way, you might as well. And get rid of those tires, which he just spun and heated to nobody. English. As McLaren Tim continues, as I was saying before we saw everyone spinning right round, is got about 2.5 second gap to JK, so pulling away, but not that fast. Behind him, though, Gemini, 11 seconds. We're starting to see the same thing again, except now 1 and 2 are running away from everybody else. Behind Gemini, we have Viperion in fourth. Where the hell did that come from? Well, I know where it came from. It came from everyone else spinning, but still, holy shit. That's got to be like the best thing the position Kiwi's ever had here, which is impressive, I got to say. He's keeping his head about him. 2 seconds behind Gemini. If he starts to catch Gem, I'm going to probably just lose my shit. And some of my sheep.
Yeah, sorry, I was a little bit distracted as drivers are complaining. Surprise, surprise.
Complaining about what, may I ask?
Everything. Guns is past Nemedis and hopefully gonna run away. From him, the gap between two leaders is now 2.5 seconds. Tim is running away, but not as fast as he would have probably wanted, as Psychedelics is now on the pit lane. He had an issue, so he's gonna fall right back.
Yeah. What more is there to say about that? you didn't really leave me much of a well. Yes, let's see. Viperion. Well, actually, he's sticking with Gems. 2.5 seconds. That's about what the gap was before. So, nothing, no major drawback. So, hey, props to him. He's doing well. As we see now, Gunsys and Nemedis are pretty close to one another, but I gotta imagine Goonsis is just gonna run oh hell away with that and go after Psychedelics, as Not James is in the ass end of the field. Set a personal best just then, but a lot of work to do if he wants to make anything happen in this race. I'm really interested in Jeke though, who just set a personal best and
He is
staying
faster
with
than
McLaren
Tim. He is 1/10 faster than Tim, so we might have ourselves a race. Viperion is now on the pit lane, taking his stop. Let's see where he ends up being after it.
Gonna guess in 7th, but we'll have to see. So there he is. Oh wow, no, he managed to come out. No, okay, 6th. Yeah, because there's Baxi and Maestro is gonna pass him. So yep, 6th. I was close, but no cigar for me. Yep, kabang. So what do we have left? The field is more spread out in this race than it was in the first one, which is slightly unfortunate because, well, less excitement for us. Although Jeke now has dropped back significantly, about 6/10 of a second from what he was this time last lap. So something happened.
Not the tightest of laps for the region. He was seen lose a few laps in the previous race, so probably getting loose again as he missed the apex on that chicane and lost another half a second. So not the tightest of laps, while Tim is pumping out good times, so he gained more than a second this lap alone. So maybe the tire's going, or maybe just lost concentration for the Norwegian. He will, if it's tires, he'll have to pit real fast.
I can't imagine tires at the point. They haven't gone far enough. It's only 10 minutes. Tim, well, I mean, unless he's a god of conservation of tires and Jeke isn't, which I don't think is the case. I don't know what it is. Maybe Tim is just having. I mean, Tim seems to have Sharky-esque consistency where he can just bang him out loud. Okay, while fast is a little bit more fragile as we in the last race. So, a little bit loose there too. Yeah, it's looking like he's just taking ever-increasing liberties. Just trying to pace, isn't able. Maybe there's a setup thing going on there. I'm not quite sure. Event. We do see Viperion and Baxi are pretty close to one another after that pit stop, a second between the two of them. So that might be our next point of moving forward in the race. And then behind them, actually, Psychedelic is caught up. Goons is now within, call it about 2 seconds. And should probably dispose of him fairly easily. But then, after that, he's got another gap of 8 seconds to make his way to Baxi. So, Goonsis is not going to have as much luck as Jeke did in the last race.
Goonsis is going to have a trip through a gravel trap and lose a few seconds.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Gemknight is in the pit lane from 3rd. Let's see where he rejoins.
Let's see. Maestro might get him. Might being a key word here. With this weird sort of shootout. Yep, Maestro's got him. And Gemknight will file in behind the Russian.
Behind, it's
but
not that far away.
Yeah,
the weird pit exit means that you basically can extend the entirety of turn 1 and rejoin on the apex of turn 2, which means that Goonsis is ungodly far behind. That's about
one way of putting it.
20 seconds back from Gemknight, so that's been cost him a lot of time.
That's a saying. Anything else you have to say there, Captain Obvious? A little bit of a lockup there from Maestro going into the chicane. Unloaded tire should get away with that, hopefully, without much damage. It'll be interesting to see if Gemknight can mount a challenge for P4. It looks like Photon, though, has fucked off into the distance, 13 seconds ahead of Maestro, so...
I believe Photon is yet to pit, though.
He has I was about to say, he can't have pit, though. Still, 13 seconds, though, that means there's another 12 of the gap, so if he drops 12... So that would put him. Actually, no, because 25. So that'd be what? That'd be 47. So that would put him in between Gem and Viperion right now, approximately.
Yeah, Baxy's still in a fight there, but there is about a 10-second gap between 7th and 8th, so probably that's where he would... Ish? Around there, we're not quite sure. It's close to that battle between Viperion and Baxy, so if a Photon on the pit exit is stuck behind these two, that might be a problem for him. Because we saw that Photon is able to run down Maestro. He closed a 6-second gap in about, what, 7-8 minutes? So he has the pace.
Something like that, yep. Mm-hmm. Indeed.
So
he definitely has the pace, but it's a matter of can they get away without making another mistake.
Yeah, maybe. I'm thinking he has a 28-second gap to P6, so he might want to pit now and just start going. Not James in pits again. That's a 3rd stop for him.
What the hell is going on down there?
Something is really not happening for him. Though meanwhile we have a battle between Viperion and Baxy. Baxy all over the rear panel of the Kiwi. Kiwi is defending with all his might, and that's a DNF. Now James is out of this race. We have 10 cars left running.
It's like a Monaco Grand Prix from the like the 80s.
Still too many.
Yeah, right. What was the record? Only 4 cars finishing, or 6, something like that?
Something. Yeah, about 4. I'm gonna guess.
Yeah. In any event, Baxy looks like he has the better of the Kiwi, but the Kiwi might defend his position. Who knows? If he does it for honor, for glory, for the fields of, I don't know anywhere in New Zealand.
Other fields, it's like 100% mountain or something. I'm not good at geography.
Baxy off track a little bit, but he keeps it mostly in shape and retains the gap to Viperion ahead as McLaren Tim pits right now. This should, unless Jackie follows him, nope, Jackie does follow him, so both have come into the pits.
Baxy in the wall.
Well, good timing there, right when I was taking a drink and expecting the long pontification from my co-commentator. It was just Baxy in a wall.
No,
I'm like, oh shit.
That's just a sigh of disappointment from me as he lets both Cyclist and Gunsis through, and Viperion has the biggest sigh of relief right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, doesn't have to do the battle. Just let him follow him. God, what is it with me in English today? As Photon, I know today. As Photon stays out, doesn't pit, and comes out ahead of Jackie, but Jackie 10 seconds. Was the gap that much? I thought the gap was a lot
It used to be like
smaller than
5.
that.
Maybe a mistake at the pit entry again.
Maybe so.
Meanwhile, Photon is a second behind Tim, so now he wants to stay out, stay close to Tim, and use the DRS he has from him. Use the DRS,
absolutely.
use the draft, and use the teamwork. Honestly, if I'm Team Timberwolves, with 10-second gap to JK, if I'm Tim, I'm slowing down a little bit, making sure Photon is within 3 seconds, and giving him whatever advantage he can get, so he can pit late and get a little bit of a jump on everybody else, because Photon is now 19 seconds behind Gemnet, so it's just 6 seconds and 12 minutes to go. If they work together, I believe they can make up their gap. So if I'm Tim, I'm slowing down a tad and helping my teammate right now. Disregard my own race, because he has a good gap.
Oh, exactly. I think I understood what you were saying there in between the robot. For sure, McLaren can always just turn up. It seems like he could just find another gear whenever he wants. And with Jackie seeming a little bit fragile this race, it definitely makes logical sense to keep Photon in that range for both draft and DRS purposes to pull him up ahead. Yeah, disappointing for Baxy there after all the promise of a good early start, just throwing it away by his own mistakes. It's disappointing for the action. As meanwhile, speaking of potential action, it looks like Maestro and Gem Knight are getting a little bit close.
Yeah, I was about to say that Gem Knight is almost a second faster than Maestro on the last lap, and we have some insider info on what happened at the start and why James pitted that much. It was a drive-through penalty for jump start, and then after the pit lane he was too far back, so he just called it a day.
Fair enough.
And I wonder if somebody else had a drive-through penalty, because 3 cars pitted on lap 1. We did not follow through, so maybe somebody else has to pit at the end of a field, but it's way too strong out there, so I don't think it's gonna matter. Meanwhile, Photon still 1.5 seconds, 1.7. Tim is getting away a little bit, but Photon is still in the DRS range, helping him immensely. Though, unfortunately for him, Gem Knight is now in DRS range of Maestro, and they're gonna race each other. If they race each other, that is just the greatest moment for Photon.
And this would be a moment where a global spotter would actually probably be helpful for the drivers, simply because if there's an incident between these two, Maestro and Gem, as Gem is right up Maestro's ass now, that would be the moment for Photon to come in and pit. Just immediately after that, the gain you're going to get from DRS usage, I think, will pale into comparison of the gain you'll get from getting those tires warmed up, so that when these guys come on a charge late on, you can be ahead of them and be in position to defend. I think that would be very beneficial for him. But we don't have spotters in here because we Poe in here. So we're going to have to just kind of shoot from the hip and see what works. As Photon now almost out of DRS range. He's 0.3 from being out of range. JK is 10 seconds behind Photon, so lost 2 seconds already to McLaren 10 after this cycle of pit stop.
Yeah, looks
and
like
he keeps losing time like this. It's going to be interesting to see if one of these two behind can start to make a charge for the podium.
And Photon is in the pit lane. Photon in the pit lane now. So this is the moment. We see how far back he is from battle pack for 4th. That means JK inherits P2 from him. Maestro and Gem Knight are gonna likely rejoin in front. Photon is back on the road. Perfect pit stop this time around. Let's see where he is. He's gonna rejoin behind, but brand new tires. 10 minutes plus 1 lap. And all the boosties underneath him. Let's see, there goes the pair. He sees them. That's about 2-3 seconds. That is close, and there's gonna be a battle.
Yeah, it's about 4.5 seconds right now, and with the tires, this is going to be fun to see, because Maestro and Gem Knight are going to start compromising each other. I know them. They will be compromising one another's lines pretty shortly, and probably each other's races at some point, knowing Maestro. But
meanwhile,
that'll be the advantage. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, meanwhile, we missed a pass. Gunsis just made his way past Psychedelics, so he was gaining a lot after his gravel trap, but now he's finally past the German and into P7. The next car is gonna be Viperian, but it might be a tough task. A 7-second gap with 8 minutes to go. Gunsis has to turn it up right now as we switch back, I guess, to the battle up ahead. Or not, because honestly, Baxi and Nemedis are still together for 9th place, so we have battles all over the goddamn shop.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm surprised that it took Gunsis this long to get past Psychedelic. Initially, after his spin, he went through an initial phase where he was catching him quite quickly. And then it just looks like, I don't know what happened there. Viperian off?
Viperian off the track, and he lost 2 positions. Commentator's curse in full effect. I apologize to the Kiwi profusely, but Gunsis now magically gets himself P6 with Viperian having to fight Psychedelics. They are on pace with each other, so we have a battle pack now. But yeah, not what the Kiwi would have wanted, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Not the best of results, but I mean, Viperian has had a solid weekend though so far, it must be said, and especially in this race. He did well. He was fighting in 4th, and now he's tangling with Psycho. Oh, he looks like he just went off the track there a little bit. Well, at least. So again, commentators, I'm just gonna not talk about Viperian because I don't to him. Meanwhile, so Psychedelics, oddly enough, is sticking right with Gunsis. Surprising to see both of them 20 seconds more or less behind Photon. So unless there's a mistake up ahead during, I expect that Gunsis is pretty much locked in this current position. Psychedelics is a move. Meanwhile, speaking of fancying moves, Gem Knight is still over Maestro's ass. Maestro just locked up going into the Gem. I don't know how he's going to play this one. It'll be interesting. Meanwhile, JK has fallen a further second behind McLaren Tim in P2, but 11 seconds ahead of Maestro. So JK pretty much no man's land on McLaren's land, and then people behind them are still fighting it out, trying to figure out as the better T-pose. As Viperion goes way wide again and started to drop significantly. Ooh, and Bossy. Wow. I'm gonna call him Bossy now. Bossy is off the track, yeah. This is a gem? Yeah.
You okay over there?
No, I'm really not. And I'm never okay over here. We can see our back markers F1. Even a mentally deranged individual like me can commentate these.
I won't call it commentating per se. As Gem Knight just jumps the chicane in effort to keep up with Maestro, I'm sure Race Control will take a gander at that. Photon still 3 seconds back. He's catching up, but not as fast as he would have wanted with just 5 minutes on the clock. Meanwhile, Psychedelics still right on the gearbox of Gunsis, less than a second between them. I'm sure Psychedelics is making use of all that sweet DRS that he now has. And who knows, there might be a battle till the end right here.
We'll have to see. I don't know. It looks like people are starting to string out from one another just a little bit. Gunsis and Psych are, though, still one after another. So either Psychedelic got a real kick up the ass, or Gunsis is not having a great race. I think both of those actually are true. Because Psych hasn't bent under the expectation of chasing down one of the top drivers, and Gunsis is just nowhere. Let's be frank.
We have Baxi off the track again, so now he hopelessly lost the battle to Nemedis through being unable to keep the car on the road. Looks like he just cooked the tires and unable to cool them down at all.
Yeah, he's just compounding errors one after another, as it looks like. Let's see, further up the road, Maestro, Gem Knight, that battle's pretty much stayed consistent. The gap is a little bit bigger now between the two, but not by much, not enough that I would really call it much. But Photon back there in the distance, 4 seconds, pretty much continued with the same gap to the guys in front of him that he had coming out of the pits. Granted, the two in front of him haven't really been fighting tooth and nails yet. If that starts to happen, I expect to see Photon starting to climb his way back up. Jackie, meanwhile, since we last talked, is another second behind McLaren Tim as Boxy decides to call it a day and retire from the race after a series of errors, which, as far as I can tell, were his own doing, and just deciding, you know, I'm not going to get any better than this, so why keep turning circles? Literally, in some cases.
Definitely, I believe he's still going to be classified, as we have about 4 laps to go. That's going to be 75% race distance for sure. Yeah, Nemedis now all by himself in 9th place, pretty much locked unless somebody dies. Looks like we have Gunsis, Psychedelics, and Viperion if any of them mess up. And a battle pack for 3rd between Maestro, Gem Knight, who's now 9/10s back, and Photon, who's catching 2.7, but it's not fast enough. Might be the story of the day again for Photon. He's catching, but just not fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, cut out some of that initial hesitation, mistakes, and whatnot, and he could definitely be up there. Yeah, I mean, and it's something I don't know him very much.
Jackie off the road, Jackie behind this too. Jackie just lost 2nd place.
How the hell?
All by himself with
that much time.
10-second gap. What is he doing?
And Photon.
Oh, Photon!
Whoa, and Photon's gonna go around. Photon trying to get cute and pass JK immediately and ends up fucking himself going around. That puts Maestro up in P2 and P3, so we now have a battle within the podium. JK, though, not that far behind, only 2.5 seconds, but how the fuck do you lose 14 seconds or 13, whatever the hell it was, with a spin? What did he do?
Must have spun and stalled, but I have a bigger question. Why do you take risk while you have a 12-second gap to this 3rd place?
I mean, was he pushing? It's a good question. I mean, yes, in the first race, you can say that his mistake came after he was pushing extremely hard trying to get in P2. Understandable, 100%, and, you know, shit happens. Was he pushing? I don't really know.
Well,
he was losing a second. He was losing a second pretty much every lap and a half, I'd call it, about to McLaren Tim. So, what is that over his natural pace? I don't know. He was sticking with Tim initially, so I gotta assume he had more tank. But either way, he's now behind and out of podium slots about a second and a half. From Gem Knight, who is now fighting Maestro, and now who even has more motivation to get right up the ass of the Russian. That was horribly phrased. Please take it from me and say.
I'll make sure to take it out of context. Looks like Photon is just about down for 7 seconds behind. Looks like he is no longer pushing after that incident. I'm sure he might have a word with race control, because after the rejoin, JK was aggressively trying in that chicane. We didn't quite clearly see. We'll have to watch the replays after the race while race control figures it out, if there was any contact or if there was any doors slammed in the face. But yeah, it was a tough defense, and Photon was on a shit end of a stick together with JK. Maestro is definitely benefit, but Gem Knight now has the role of well, JK basically. He has to get close to Maestro and send it. JK didn't use a lot of his DRS laps, so he's gonna be right there. He still has it, and he's still gonna use it to his best of abilities. The timer has expired, and Tim has one chicane to go, so we're gonna have one more lap for the leader plus about 5 seconds, and this entire battle pack is approaching the start-finish straight. So one more lap to go for these three to decide who's gonna be on podium. JK is right with them. There is a second between these three cars as they're heading into the final set of turns. One more straight and one more chicane, and after that, one more time around this circuit of Zolder, with McLaren team 30 seconds in front of everybody. Just absolute utter domination by the American. He has seen about 5 seconds of on-screen time due to being just in no man's land for the entire race. Gem Knight is very close to Maestro. Is he gonna be trying to make a move? He is on his rear bumper. Maestro is blocking everything he can block. Into turn 2 they go. Gem Knight is gonna tuck in. It's gonna be difficult. The dirty air is pushing him around. So there is 4 tenths between them. JK might be looking for a move soon. There's the first straight. If you have DRS, you gotta just dump it all out. The first straight, the first chicane. Heartbreaking. JK not even looking yet, but he's closer to Gem Knight than Gem Knight is to Maestro. JK might be the best thing to happen to Maestro on this final lap. Second chicane, heartbreaking point. Oh!
There goes
Oh! Huge! Huge crash for Gem Knight. He is head first into the wall. That will have major damage. The car is still running. Damage on, but the car is still running. He'll have to go around the entire thing, and there is Photon. This time Photon is past. McLaren team wins the race. Photon in 4th, but we have a battle for 2nd place. JK is still behind Maestro. One more chicane to go. Maestro under huge pressure. JK looking, diving, not quite close enough. Will he be able to cross Maestro over? The final corner exit, but Maestro has the pace, and I believe he will take P2 with JK salvaging 3rd position. Holy
and
mother of God.
in P4. Oh, what the hell happened there?
Photon salvages
I
P4.
was worried that Gutsis got damaged there, or excuse me, that Maestro got damaged there in that collision, but apparently not enough, because what even is this series?
People finishing psychedelics a couple of seconds behind. Gutsis in P6 and P7 with Viperian salvaging 8th position. Holy mother of God, this race. Gem Knight tried to send it, but sent it way, way, way too hard, and it was a head-on impact with the wall. And he is lucky to have the car running. After that, the damage is inflicted, so if the car is dead, it's dead. But he managed to get it running, get it going. He lost the position to Photon Burst, but finished in 5th, as McLaren Tim, with more than half a minute gap, finishes in 1st place. Maestro basically gets gifted 2nd place. calm, collected, and safe race from a Russian as everybody else around him dies, with JK in 3rd place for the burst, with a couple of incidents early on, salvages 4th, Gemnet in 5th, Gunsis with a horrid start of a race still in 6th, Sacrilix in 7th, the Kiwi Viperian in 8th, Nemedus is the last car across the finish line in 9th, and 2 cars not taking the checkered flag, Baxi and not James, with G-Man not starting the race. Oh boy! So, what do you think about this whole thing?
Well, it was simmering a lot more than the first race, but then at the very end, it came to one hell of a crescendo. I'm still curious as to what caused the Gemini's Flight of the Eagles, as it were, or Valkyries. I know my classical music. Oops. The Flight of the Eagles is the American version. There you go, America. And the American definitely flew, but not in the way he would have liked. I don't know if he got touched up from behind or something like that, because he seemed to be going into that chicane extremely hot and heavy. So I don't quite know exactly what happened there. I'm sure we'll find out shortly, but definitely interesting racing. Definitely close. Definitely much better than I thought it would have been, considering the limited pack that we had.
For sure. Now let's see if anybody wants to talk to us over here. Let's try to get our race dominator. Hi, hello. Do you hear us here in broadcast booth? I guess that's a no.
He's like, I'm getting drunk on champagne. Fuck off.
Hello.
Oh, there you go. Hello. Dominating
weird.
weekend. That was not even close. 20 seconds in the first race, 30 seconds in the second race, given everybody behind you decided to absolutely die all of a sudden. But holy hell, you had incredible pace.
I think because PRC has done like 6 races at this point here, so I've been pretty well versed in this track, and then had a bit of practice in there. I think I was able to find some really nice tricks and stuff to gain those extra tenths. It was a shame that Sharky couldn't join, because I was kind of hoping to race him, but I can't complain about the result.
Definitely the perfect weekend for you. So let's go ahead a little bit and focus on the next race. That's gonna be a night weekend. What are your expectations for that?
Yeah, that'll be kind of tough, because obviously at night you can't see anything. But that one test race we did at Misano, I think I found some pretty good pace there. So I'm pretty looking forward to it, and hopefully Sharky can sort out his technical difficulties, because I'm looking forward to racing him still. So yeah, just again, it's a shame he couldn't join today.
Yeah, for sure it's a shame, but we do have a drop week, so he's not out of a championship just yet. You might have had a good points haul, but this is not over. But good luck to you in the next weekend, and congratulations with an absolute domination this weekend.
Yeah, thanks. It was really fun.
Alright, let's grab his teammate real quick. So, because he had an exciting weekend. Hello,
yeah, for sure.
Photon, do you hear us here?
Yeah, I do.
Well, that was a roller coaster and a half for you this weekend, wasn't it?
You could say that, yeah.
So, I'm trying to figure out a question, but too many things happened. So, if you have the most exciting crash, I guess, of yours, you can try to describe that, because that was sure interesting.
Which one do you mean?
Well, I guess
he gets it.
I guess let's start with the one that is most recent, the spin and rejoin by JK, and then we didn't quite see what happened in the chicane between you two. We just saw you catching the grass and spinning. Was there contact? What did you see from your point of view?
No, there was no contact at all. Basically what happened was, so a bit before I pitted, came out about 6 seconds behind Maestro and Gem, and was basically just pushing everything I could to try and catch up with them. So I just got within DRS range, and then I saw JK around right after the chicane. And I was kind of like, okay, I just need to get past him so that I can actually chase Gem and Maestro up ahead and have a chance at a podium, you know? So basically, he was really slow into the hairpin. And I tried to go around his outside, and I saw that he was blocking the inside. So I tried to do a crossover on him. Was a little bit too aggressive, and yeah, I just spun out on my own. Like I just tried to avoid him, and that's how I.
Okay, yeah, it's really unfortunate because it was shaping up to be a great four-way battle. But
yeah, definitely.
Gotta ask one more question. We had a little bit of discussion over here in broadcast booth in the middle of race 2, while Tim Pitt and basically rejoined right in front of you. We were trying to figure out if it was good to use Tim tactic and basically for Tim to deliberately slow down as he had a 10-second gap and try to give you a tow and DRS to try to give you a couple of seconds before you had to pit. Was there any talks within the team about that?
Actually, not really. It kind of surprised me by just dropping right in front of me. And then I did get a few laps of DRS, but then, yeah, I just started making mistakes while in DRS because of the whole downforce change and everything. So at some point, I just got outside of DRS range, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll just pit, and you just do your own race. And yeah, just see how it goes from there.
It definitely provided a lot of excitement in both races with late stops and after that fun chases. I definitely lack probably one more lap in race 1 as well.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a weekend of what could have been with the qualifyings that I really didn't expect. Like those laps came out of nowhere. And yeah, then just making mistakes. That was really I was really racing against myself this weekend. Kind of a shame, but I guess it panned out fine either way. I'm a little bit disappointed in myself, but what can you do?
Well, still a decent result overall for both you and the Timberwolves race, and you guys racked up a lot of points here with the absence of Sharkey. So we're gonna see an interesting championship battle with you getting a bit of a gap, but gotta say, you weren't the only one, as Guns Giraffe Malibu Helmet right there with you guys. So we're definitely gonna see a fan battle between basically 3 teams now. Now in round 3, which is gonna be a night race. But congratulations with a fun weekend, let's just say, and still a decent point haul at the end.
Yeah, thanks, and looking forward to it.
All right. Let's see if we can grab one of the post-Soviet bloc to end
maybe.
our race. Yeah. Let's see if he wants to talk to us today. I'm not sure, but let's see. Hello, Guns, we just pulled you into the broadcast booth. Can you hear us?
Oh god, what's happening?
Oh, I'm sure you'll enjoy this one. So, exciting weekend for you for different reasons in 2 races. So, what the hell happened to you in race 2?
You mean the start?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know how the tires are called at the start. That the car just went straight.
Oh. Yeah, and then actually, well, while you were behind Syke, I noticed you're making a few mistakes. So, were your car a lot of basically aero dependent, or what happened there?
Yeah, when I was behind Syke and I was trying to get ahead of him or overtake him, there was a loss of front downforce when going through corners. So it was much more difficult to overtake him than I thought. And, well, I could overtake him when I overtook him basically when I just made a feint in the last chicane, and then I got a good run into turn 1.
Yeah, I was curious if that was going to be more setup related, because we saw Jeke having to make a similar comeback drive in the first race, and he seemed to have a much easier time of passing the people in front of him. So maybe a setup thing in the end, but yeah, definitely not a boring race for you.
Regarding the not boring race, in the first race, on a scale from
Yeah.
1 to Code Brown, with JK chasing the ever-living hell out of you, how would you rate your last final laps?
Actually, I would rate it a 3. I could see that he had the same problems I did with Psych, that I could get out of the corners a little bit faster and basically negate his DRS advantage. So I was feeling fairly safe, except for a couple times where I bumped the chicane a little bit too hard and lose some time there. Otherwise, it wasn't too bad keeping him behind me.
Okay, well, Maestro, your teammate, decided to get P2, probably not with his own work, but with everybody else dying around him. So a good point haul for both you and Timbles this weekend, and that means you two are gonna be close for the next week, which is gonna be a night race. You feeling confident heading into it?
I feel quite confident. I can't say the same about my teammate.
We'll talk to him soon. I think that'll be a one hell of a way to end the broadcast. But yeah, is there really anything different that goes through your head prepping for that, or is it just it's another track with just artificial illumination instead of natural illumination?
I mean, you just see a little bit less, but you can still get your braking points or turning points and just drive as any other track.
Well,
fair enough.
Make sure to buy your flash lights button, because you might need it next weekend. Congratulations with a fun weekend, good race 1 and a little bit unfortunate in race 2, but definitely providing a lot of entertainment.
Yeah, was fun. See you next race.
Have a good one. All right, let's try and get the Russian in here.
Oh boy! Maestro, hello, you're in broadcast booth, probably with no willingness to be here. Do you hear us?
Yes.
There we go. There he is. So, interesting weekend for you, and race 2 pretty much C-spotted in front of you, but in the end, there was a huge chase. So, how was that defense from your point of view at the end of a race?
You mean from Gem Knight?
From basically everybody. So at first it was Gem Knight, at the end it was JK.
Well, JK caught to me when it was too late, basically, and with Gem Knight we had the same pace. So, like, as Gem described it, he could not keep up because of the understeer in fast corners. So when he drafted to me before the corners, he couldn't overtake. That's basically it.
Yeah, that's what we heard Goon do. It seems like JK was the only one in race 1 who was able to get around that, because he was able to easily dispatch. I've been having trouble with my English this entire fucking. I could just switch to German and whatever. But JK was dispatching the other cars pretty easily. But it seems like in race 2, everybody would get ahead, just have these understeer problems trying to overtake people. But did you happen to catch what the hell happened to Gem Knight in that last incident where he just started to take to the air?
Well, as he described it to me, he basically missed his braking point and he decided to go full throttle so he doesn't kill me. So he just killed himself instead.
Well, I guess it's good to know that somebody in the server would die for you.
Well, one last question. We asked your teammate this and had an interesting answer. How prepared do you feel for the next race in night conditions in Misano?
Totally unprepared. Top 10 best result.
Well, considering there are only 10 people who finished this race, I think you're pretty much guaranteed that at this point.
Yes, exactly.
Well, good result in race 2. Congratulations with that. Good points haul for your team in general. I believe you might be close to the lead now, with Sharky being MIA for the weekend, and Photon also having a few adventures throughout the weekend. We're gonna have the results soon, but you guys are close, and have fun next weekend.
Okay, thanks.
Alright, so that was the weekend in Zolder. What you think?
Exciting. Much more exciting than I thought it was going to be, especially when I saw the reduced field. Lot of crazy action, a lot of fun. I really, really did enjoy it. A bit of a runaway there from But it was one of those scenarios like sort of what we're having in F1 this year, where the midfield is fighting it out, even if the front runners are pretty much off doing their own thing, or getting absolutely fisted by the. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it was interesting to see a huge battle all over the track, with a few guys keeping up with faster people like Psychedelics, able to contain Gunsis for such a long time and still sort of kind of keep up with them, which was rather interesting. But yeah, hopefully a bigger turnout next race, which is gonna be probably one of the most difficult ones on the calendar, as we head to Misano, and it's gonna be under the stars and the bright lights, as we're gonna have a nighttime weekend.
It sounds so romantic. I bet we're all looking forward to that, especially Maestro.
Lots of kisses under the stars, and might be some inappropriate touching as the result, but that is gonna be, as I try to desperately look for the information as when is the race weekend. It's gonna be July 7th. And yeah.
When do we have to get on the plane again?
As July 7th is the race weekend, and well, it's definitely gonna be interesting. We might see a few surprises overall with how things shake up because of the nighttime and people not knowing the circuit really, because Misano is relatively new on our radar in the league. But until then, looks like that's gonna be it for us for this weekend. Hold up a second, because I accidentally killed your audio source. There you go. So,
meanwhile, the entire audience is like, "No, please bring him back."
No, please keep him muted. What?
Pretty much.
So, that was pretty much all from us. Do you have anything else to add for this race?
No, hopefully in the next race we get a bit of a bigger field, just because all these midfield battles are really interesting. It'd be really hopeful that Sharky has his issues fixed and is able to take the fight back to McLaren Tim. And yeah, it will be nice to go somewhere that, well, most people don't know and haven't encountered before, and is at night, so should shake things up a little bit and be interesting. And I look forward to it. It being after the holiday for us here in the States, I will still be all red, white, and blued up because America. And that's all I got here for me. It was fun and enjoyed it.
Yeah, same for me. It was definitely exciting racing, and hopefully we'll see more of the same next time around. But for now, from me and Matt, that's gonna be all, and until next time, this is goodbye.
Have a good one, guys.